Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at what's coming in this week's edition of the North Coast Journal. I am your host, Tanya Shrum, and we are joined by North Coast Journal's managing editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome.
Hello, Tanya. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've got my fall clothes on, and I'm a little chilly today.
I mean, thank God. I'm sorry. I know everybody loves the UV rays and whatnot, but I'm done. I have felt hats sitting, waiting. I have sweaters stacked up, waiting. It's October. I can't be spooky and hot. It's like...
Are you, have you decorated for spooky season yet?
It has begun. Mark Boyd is the person who does our classified ads, and he is the king of Halloween. It is not Jack Skellington. It is Mark Boyd. And so the decorations have begun, and soon we will be in full swing. But spare a thought for the goths right now, just melting under the sun.
Well, they're going to get some respite because we're going to get a bunch of rain soon. So it's coming early this year. Well, and we are back to a fantastic cover. We weren't able to wrangle the author in this week, but Kim Weir did some really amazing journalism, and you're bringing us that cover story, Jennifer.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful to Kim for handling this. So you may have heard of the flotilla, the Sumud Global Flotilla that has been bringing aid to Gaza and has been traveling through the Mediterranean. When we got word that a 43-year-old man from Orleans named Winfield Beaver, people call him Wind, was going to be part of that flotilla effort, we were able to get in touch with him, and Kim and I, together and separately, had interviews with him over the last few weeks, and it was really enlightening. It was something where we were worried about him every day as the days went by, and we learned a lot about the experience, and I'm just really grateful to Kim for putting this story together and sharing this, and to Wind for sharing his story with us.
And for sharing his commitment to assisting the people of Gaza. I mean, it's quite a task knowing what an impossible feat it was to attempt to get aid.
Yeah, and that was something, as a person outside of this, I looked at this from afar before speaking to Wind and thought, what do people think is going to happen? I thought, this is hopeless. This is, in a way, what is the point if they're not going to be able to do this? There's no way that they're going to be allowed through. But talking to Wind about what motivated him and what made him a person who was qualified to go on this excursion really kind of, I thought, answered some of those questions. And one of the things he wanted to talk about was how the effort itself, he's like, I would like to get all of this aid. They were bringing baby formula, medical supplies, things like that. His hope was that they could bring this to the people of Gaza who were absolutely needing all of these materials. And if you've been, I don't know, under a rock or something, it has been really brutal there. To make this effort is not only for the purpose of bringing the supplies, but for the purpose of getting global attention and to remind people of the humanitarian disaster that's happening there. And it was interesting in that he was saying this is an effort to do something practical, but really it takes states, it takes countries, it takes leadership around the world to really make a difference to help these people survive. The flow of supplies into Gaza, of course, has been cut off since the October 7th, 2023 attack by Hamas. And that left 1,200 people dead, Israelis dead, and hundreds taken hostage, some of whom are still held hostage, and many of them civilians, and it's horrendous. And then the resulting lockdown of Gaza, that, as Kim describes it, a narrow strip of land, has left the people who are in that region facing starvation, displacement, bombardment, and just the whole place pretty much leveled. More than 67,000 Palestinians have died in the ensuing war, according to Gaza health authorities. Many of those are women, children, and the elderly. The United Nations recently released a report that was in August declaring that a whole famine, is underway as a result. And people are literally starving to death. So this effort, he kept on saying as they talked and, in interviews with Kim, he kept on saying, what else can you do? He just did not feel he could sit safely somewhere when people needed help and weren't getting it. And he was hopeful that he said at one point, if we can get there and deliver this aid that we have and hold a corridor, like an open passageway, we could, with the support of the people of the world, we could facilitate a lot of resources getting to this besieged population. And of course, there are some big names, activists and whatnot, involved, not on his boat. Greta Thunberg, Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandela Mandela, and those people were all involved, which, as he was saying to us in other phone calls, like, this is about drawing attention, but also providing some security, because the more of the world is watching, the more careful the Israeli authorities and Navy have to be, is the hope, or has been the hope.
Well, and they weren't careful. I mean, from the story, it's kind of amazing that the flotilla was attacked well before it was intercepted.
Right. So he described the weirdness of hearing drones in the dark with no lights over the ship or over the boat. He's in a 45-foot long boat called the Awela, and a rickety boat, I want to say.
I know, I thought that was an interesting point, that
Yeah,
they intentionally were not using, fancy brand new ships.
right. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, there's the boat. But Kim knows a bit more about sailing than I do, which honestly almost everyone does. But she knows a bit more about sailing. And she was like, yeah, I don't think I would be sailing the Mediterranean in that. But so he's fixing it while it's going. And then in the middle of the night, there are these drones in the dark. And then they dropped things onto the boat. The one that hit the Awela bounced off and hit the water. Other boats experienced something like a flashbang going off. And there was a video that he shared with us that we have a still from, and it looks like something exploding. And it's scary. It was, luckily nobody was injured, and he was grateful for that. But he also says at one point that it did change from being like, yeah, we're going to get out there and do this. And then the fear really became real, because anything could happen. They'd never tried an action this big in the 20 years that the flotillas, or that the effort to bring aid to Gaza has been going on. They've never done an action this big. So it was hard to know for somebody who's, grew up on the Salmon River in Siskiyou County and raised on a commune, and then moved to Orleans and fixes things for people. Somebody described him to us as a person that you could go to with a busted engine or an out of tune violin and he could help you. And those were the skills, of course, that got him a space on the boat. This is a big change in his life, right? From going from the most rural parts of our county to the Mediterranean, to Tunisia, to being on a boat and then being essentially under attack.
And there was quite a bit of training before he boarded to cross the Mediterranean, which I thought was also really insightful that these are not just folks like, gathering their gumption. They're also, educating themselves and making sure that everybody is kind of on the same page as far as the nonviolent way that they're going about this.
Yeah, the nonviolence is a big part of it. And when they were boarded, and there was video of that online, everybody having to sort of surrender with their arms out and not come into conflict with the Israeli Navy, really knowing that everybody is there just to do this humanitarian, peaceful effort, I think was evidently very important to figuring out who was actually going to go. It's interesting to me that his skill set is very much this is a very humble person, right? He's got this, but it's like anybody in your neighborhood where you've got something broken, you're like, oh, who would know how to handle this, right? And then in the middle of the night, he's getting up to fix the engine on the boat. He's basically repairing this thing while it's floating. And I thought, wow, like living in rural Humboldt could really actually prepare you for this life. It's kind of wild. But I should just reassure folks, he has been marked as freed. As of press time and even as of today, we don't know where he is, but he has been marked as freed. Apparently, people are being released and sent to different parts of Europe, but we don't have that information at this time. Not everybody has been freed. And we have there's a sidebar there that is a letter with a bunch of representatives from California who have signed on, who are asking for aid to basically get the people who haven't yet been freed. Jared Huffman is one of the signees and his office shared this letter with us. It is written to Secretary Rubio. Let me just take a minute with that. And then he describes, or the letter describes the U.S. citizens who are on board and a little something about each person. And like David Adler, co-general coordinator of Progressive International, and a Jewish American, Tommy Marcus, who lives in California. Like, there's a list of people who are still not released. And it's urging some sort of intervention and a diplomatic solution to getting these folks out of Israel. And it's incredible to me that this is happening. It's incredible that this humanitarian disaster is happening, and it's incredible to me what people will risk in order to bring attention or potentially bring aid.
And that was part of the letter is hoping that the aid would be received by the Gazans. And uh, it's such a tremendous sacrifice for these folks to attempt to bring this to light and to keep the eyes of the world on this continued crisis.
Yeah, something that he said, that Wynn said to us early on was, he said, listen, I really don't want, because he knew that he would not be able to read this. We don't give approval when we write about somebody. You're not allowed to read it. I'm so sorry. You just have to trust us. And it might not go how you wanted it to. But he said, he was just concerned. He did not want this to be like a white savior narrative. And to his mind, he's like, this is not about a bunch of people going in to save Palestinians. This is about partnership. And this is about making the focus on the people of Gaza and about their tremendous need. And that they were using their presence as a way to put attention and to maybe make it so that people can't look away, can't deny what's happening.
And it's pretty stunning to think that this is an effort that's been ongoing for 20 years.
Yes, way, way back before 2023. And it's something that I did not have much information on before this story. And again, I'm just really glad that we're able to share it. And I'm grateful to Kim for handling it.
Well, my hearts go out to everybody involved, and I hope everybody is returned safe soon. And thank you for bringing this story to the community.
We're just honestly so glad that he's okay. As we were talking about this and days were going by, we were watching the news, and when there's a map online that you could see and track the boats, and we were sort of thinking, okay, now we're invested in this one book, we're invested in this one boat, we're invested in this person, and we're glad he's released, and we hope to hear from him soon. He said at one point when they were getting close, I said, so what are you going to do when you're boarded? And he said, well, just so you know, he said, I'm going to throw my phone overboard, so I won't be able to talk to you anymore. And because he doesn't want them seeing his contacts, getting any information out of his phone, etc. And it is a little scary to think that he's just going to be out there with no way to contact the outside world. And so we're glad he's released. And again, we hope to hear from him soon.
Well, thank you again, and I'm sure Kim will fill us in on follow-up as it happens. All right, well, from that heavy information, we're going to go to some heavy bellies.
Let's talk about the real stories.
Let's talk about what happened with Burger Week.
Girl, Burger Week. So normally we don't recap Burger Week because, again, this is a promotional thing that we do out in the community, and we're glad that everybody gets excited about it. But this year we made it a bit of a competition because, listen, everything is a competition. So folks ate their burgers and voted on their favorites. So we have trophies that we've handed out, and we wanted to share with everybody who won what. Side note, something that is not in the article, you may look at the picture and see these redonkulous trophies. They are, I want to say, like 2 feet tall.
They're impressive.
And they are topped with larger than life burgers. Some of them are painted in color. One of them is just gold and glitter. And they are painted by our staff. So the gold one, they were molded by our publisher. Melissa Sanderson made these burgers, sculpted these burgers. It got crafty in here. And listen, the fumes were very real. I'm sorry for any spelling errors I made weeks ago, but
she
made
on
these burgers. I picked a bad week to stop sniffing burgers. So these were made, and then she spray painted one gold. Her dad painted one, and then Asia, our salesperson, who did a tremendous job on the selling Burger Week, also did a tremendous job on making this burger, and it's very realistic, I must tell you. Would eat. And so we've got pictures of folks with their burgers. Shall I give you the rundown of our winners?
Who got the trophies?
Who got the trophies? Those of you who love Cap's Food Shack, you were right all along. Most creative burger went to Cap's Food Shack. You may recall they had the peanut butter and jelly one, but it wasn't just peanut butter and jelly. It was Thai peanut sauce and pepper jelly. It was a spicy, sassy little burger with onion ring, what do they call them? Onion frizzles, tanglers on top. And anyway, we had a little chat with him about it. And then Six Rivers, in a shocking move, Humboldt, I had no idea. Y'all chose a turkey burger for best use of local ingredients. But
who would have thunk it?
I know. It had pink aioli on it. I did not think that that Humboldt would be ready for such a burger, but here we are. And exciting news, turkey burgers are going to be on the menu at Six Rivers now because they were such a success. But the localness of the local ingredients were as local can be because the ingredients were coming from inside the house. Meredith Mayer, one of the owners of Six Rivers Brewery, although she is soon moving on to the Arcata Chamber. So farewell. This is a nice to leave on a win, Meredith. She grew those blackberries at Old Dog Farm, which is her farm. And the blackberries, and then one other thing I think was on there that was locally grown, but I think it might have been the tomatoes. Anyway, locally made blackberries, which if you go over there, apparently the blackberry bushes are still blowing up. So you can go get like a cocktail with blackberries in it, which I think you should probably do. These are tough times.
But the top of the hill was the top of the heap, too.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a David and Goliath situation. Papa Wheelies. Have you ever been to Papa Wheelies?
I went to a wedding reception at Papa Wheelies. It was
How many
fantastic. It was about 25 to 30. We fit.
Really? Okay.
It was
Papa
fantastic.
Wheelies, it is like being at someone's house.
Yeah.
It is a small
It's a
restaurant.
small venue.
And there it is full of tchotchkes. And when you go in next, you will see that the king of the tchotchkes is now the golden best overall burger trophy, which also had
The
my
best
personal
name.
the best name. Brie here now.
Indeed.
I'm never going to be mad at somebody for adding brie to a thing. Right? Have you ever been mad and been like, oh, but they put brie on it?
Brie.
But in fact, the melty brie burger won him that, despite the fact that he was saying, like, I didn't think I'd get that many votes because it's hard to seat that many people here. But people love that burger. So, and I've eaten the burgers there before, and they are really solid.
And Papa Wheelies, I mean, at least there's outdoor seating, so they'll find room for you.
That's true. And you know how I love to roll up the windows, eat in my car, and blast Bruce Springsteen. I recommend it for all cuisines.
Always.
Yes.
Well, we're running out of time. Quick tease.
Oh, quick tease. So, also this week, for those of you who have, I don't know, nothing else to do, you may recall that long ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth and we had a January 6th insurrection, at that time I wrote a seriously about the cult of Ictharel. Ictharel the unclean, bringer of Armageddon and devourer of all. My imaginary demon that an evil cult brought up from the bowels of the earth, and they had no idea that he was going to behave as badly as he did. And I have written another one this week. If you haven't taken a look at the Department of Homeland Security's website, where they say that they have called on the far left and the media to stop demonizing President Trump and his supporters, it's a wild post, and you should take a look at it. And so this week we have the cult of Ictharel calls for the media to stop the demonization of Ictharel the unclean, bringer of Armageddon and devourer of all, and his supporters.
Excellent. All right. Well, I encourage everybody to pick up the current edition of the North Coast Journal, which will be available on newsstands tomorrow. Or, of course, you can check it out online at northcoastjournal.com. I am Tanya Schrum. Thanks to Jennifer, and thanks for being with us and staying informed and supportive here on the North Coast.